Okay, once again, Black Disabled Men Talk. Leroy, Otis, Lateef, and Keith Jones. The topic is from BLM to ADOS. What does it mean for Black disabled community? So like always, we're gonna go around and introduce ourselves. Okay, so let's first start with Keith, then Otis, then me, then the last is Lateef. Okay, Keith.
What's going on, people? I am Keith Jones, CEO and president of Soul Touching Experiences, community activist, and soon to be political candidate.
My name's Otis Smith. I'm currently a graphic designer, an artist, a comic book writer, as well as illustrator, and hope to be soon a political activist if I roll with my crew to give me that wisdom.
Okay, I'm Leroy Moore from Berkeley, California. I'm a Black disabled activist. I'm also an author, a political radical activist. I'm a part of Poor Magazine, and glad to be here. Lateef.
Hello, I am Lateef McLeod, and I am a poet, writer, and scholar. I am a PhD student in the Anthropology and Social Change Department at California Institute of Integral Studies, and I am also the lead committee chair of the International Society of Augmentative Alternative Communication. I am also working on a poetry book that will come back next year.
Okay, so we're all here. I want to thank Lateef for putting up the Patreon page, and we should shout that out toward the end so people can go over there. So today, once again, the topic is from BLM to ADOS. I want to thank Otis for doing the flyer for the talk. Thank you so much. So let's get into it. The first is, talk about the good and the bad of BLM and ADOS. So let's start once again down the road with Keith and Otis and me and Lateef.
Okay, so the good part, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me take disability out of that part, out of that section of the answer. The good part is generally anything that raises awareness around particular issues facing the Black community is always good, particularly when you're talking about violence or the long residual post-traumatic stress of slavery. What is disheartening, and the reason we constantly have these discussions, is that we are 4 Black men and we are not integral to the discussion. And I mean the euphemistic we. Black people with disabilities are secondary in both of those discussions, even though our disability is seminal to, you were born deformed, you were alligator bait. So I think the positive is that they're bringing attention to the issue, but the drawback is they are not complete in addition and or adding us to the discussion.
Okay, thank you, Keith. Otis, you're on.
I don't have too many positive things to say. Probably what Keith said, going back off what Keith said, it brings awareness. Now that could be a good thing and a bad thing, because you can bring so much awareness that people become desensitized to it, and then all you're doing is talking in circles. But again, I'm not trying to get caught up on the negative. So I'm gonna stick with it brings awareness to our social plight, and I'm gonna kick it to my boy.
Okay, Otis. I know you got more to say. Okay. So, myself and Lateef, I go off Keith and Otis. Yes, it brings awareness to our people, from police brutality to ADOS people. Yes, it brings awareness, and yeah, I think that's all I gotta say. Yeah, especially police brutality, because I've been doing it since the 80s, so I don't need any more awareness. But anyway, Latif.
Black Lives Matter has been good in bringing awareness about police violence and murder against mostly Black, brown people in this country, and also having an intersectional feminist and LGBTQIA framed analysis when it comes to the victims of police violence. What it does not have is a disability analysis. A major portion of people, Black disabled men talk.
Good. All right, so let's go. I'm sorry, Latif. You're good. Okay. So let's go back down the road. Talk about what's bad about both of them. So it's 7:17 now. We get until 7:30. Okay. So Keith.
Well, bad is I don't know if bad is the term.
Yeah.
That I would subscribe, because what the term that I would subscribe is lazy. I would deem that any community activism, people always get excited about let's do this, and then they rally, and then they build up steam, and they get momentum. So everybody says come to the rally. But the majority of people that are able to get to the rally are the people who can get to the rally. If you are stuck in your house or you need an accommodation in order to attend the rally, you are not there. And so apparently the thing that makes me crazy is out of sight, out of mind. And so when confronted with this, again, Leroy, Otis, Latif, all this, going back 20 years, if you're talking to any national major civil rights organization, they have zero disability policy. And particularly when it comes to Black Lives Matter or ADOS, they are lacking sufficiently in that area.
Okay, so Otis, you're on.
Well, to me, to focus on Black Lives Matter, one, I don't really think it's a Black organization, because I believe what Marcus Garvey said, whoever funds the movement controls its direction. He ain't saying like that, but I'm summarizing what he said. And the person who funds Black Lives Matter is George Soros. You feel me? So I can't really see Black Lives Matter functioning on an effective level beyond protesting, which really ain't doing nothing. It's us. How do I say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result? It's us repeating the same process. Well, something happened, we get pissed off, and then we create merchandise, and then we go out there and parade with the merchandise of the latest Black victims, and after that, nothing else happens. You feel me? So I really don't care for Black Lives Matter. I mean, I'm not gonna take the few good things they have done, because I understand they have done fundraisers to bring water to places like Flint, and they have done fundraisers to help raise funds for poor communities. I do understand that, but I feel like they also add to the counterproductive measures that Black people face. Like, I do not like this thing we got going on where we make merchandise out of the latest Black victim. You feel me? And then we profit off of that. Like, to me, that's a huge sickness. And to me, it looks like Black Lives Matter is one of the main perpetuators of it. And then you gotta understand, because they cannot give you an in-depth analysis of the institution of white supremacy. They have to stay on the surface level. Like, to me, the problem should not be focused on the individual cop, because the individual cop ain't the only one that's responsible for our death. You gotta look at the police union who helping that individual cop. Then you gotta look at the police chief, and then you gotta look at the media. The media which perpetuate us as the perpetrator, although we're the victim, and then paint the cop as the good guy. Feel me? So the Black Lives Matter is like a lot of these organizations like the Black Caucus and the NAACP, they can never give you an in-depth analysis. Because when they give you an in-depth analysis, then they're gonna have to address where they get their money from and their money source. You feel me? So to me, it's more surface level. And that's one of my biggest problems with it. It's more surface level, it's more reactionary than revolutionary, and it's more reactionary versus an actual critique of the system as a whole versus an individual situation that we're currently responding to. And when you know who funds it, then you understand why that is. Yeah, that's. Oh
Thank
wait,
you.
and one more thing. There's a brother. I don't know if y'all heard about Darren Seals. Darren Seals, he was killed in 2016. He was a Ferguson activist, and he called out a lot of what Black Lives Matter was doing. So I highly recommend you look up Darren Seals, because he was calling a lot of the sly-handedness that was going on behind closed doors with Black Lives Matter, looking more for publicity and looking more for the cameras, kind of like Al Sharpton do, versus trying to actually address the situation. So I highly recommend you look up the brother Darren Seals and see what he was talking about, because he was lacing us with game before he died.
Thank you, Otis. So it's 7:22. I'm gonna make mine quick. I think all of us are speaking what I want to say. So it's almost like a repeat. Around Black Lives Matter for me. Like I said, been doing this since 89, 88. So it's nothing new. It's not a new topic, but they spin it like it's new. So that's one thing that I did not like. Also, having connection with Sins and Ballads that tried to reach out for Black Lives Matter when it started, and nothing came to that. And also, Krip-Hop did a movie and a CD, on police brutality against people with disabilities, and got no response to a lot of police brutality activism. So, I think Black Lives Matter is, once again, just another funding pool for the short-term activism. They don't tackle, like, my issue is, like, go after the income of the police and make sure that the police, when we sue the police, it's coming from the police budget, not taxpayers. But they don't want to go that deep into it because of their funding, of their liberal kind of outlook. So I can go on and on, but I wanted Lateef to get in here. It's 7:24. So Lateef.
What Black Lives Matter does not have is a disability analysis. A major portion of people that police murder have some sort of disability, so to be an advocacy group against state violence and not adequately address this issue or even attempt to organize within the Black disability community is not acceptable at this point. With addressing ADOS, American descendants of slaves. I hate that name, by the way. I see it as an incipient American nationalist, Black patriarchal movement that we should avoid at all costs. ADOS' main objective is to get members of the Black community on board with the white nationalist agenda of being against people of color, especially those of African descent. ADOS uses reparations as a form of bait so Black people will be more susceptible to their ulterior agenda. They say they are for reparations, but as Talib Kweli explains in his article, ADOS is trash. They only want reparations for descendants of enslaved Africans that arrived to the territory of the United States, which will definitely put further wedges in the African American community. First of all, how will we determine who is ADOS? White slavers used to trade our ancestors between the Caribbean and the United States all the time. ADOS is just another form of American proto-fascist nationalism that is rising in this country, and we need to oppose it.
Okay, so we have 4 minutes. I want to get to Curtis because Curtis hit me up from the beginning, and I had to be honest that I was I fell for ADOS in the beginning, and now I woke up. So Curtis, can you give us some background of ADOS and what do you think about it?
Is it Otis?
Otis, I'm sorry, Otis.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, I'm with y'all on this one. I don't agree with it. I think it's dumb. As he said, it's a fascist organization. Like I said, the problem with Black Lives Matter is that they don't address the issue as a whole, and they look at it from an individual situation. Adults do the same thing. When they look at white supremacy strictly within the American borders, like when I was looking at the videos of Antonio Moore, and he used the example of Nigerians, how Nigerians are able to claim a nationality and not African Americans. All right, cool. But although they claiming their nationality, although they have this title, what does that offer them? Do they control their national resources? No. Let's go to Togo. Do they control their national resources? No. No matter what African country you go to, although they have a nationality claim, it does not give them any power whatsoever. So the only thing we are looking for is something to call ourselves. Then we have to understand titles mean absolutely nothing in this system. You get me? And that's what ADOS seems to not understand, that there's no nationality in this world that white supremacy is bound to respect. On top of that, most of those nationalities that we compare ourselves to was created by colonial forces in the Belgium Conference. Or no, not Belgium, but Berlin Conference. The Berlin Conference, when you have Germany, you have all of Europe and America getting together to break up Africa and separate them based off their colonial borders. And they created these fictitious names for African people. So although we don't have a real nationality that we can cling to, neither do them. You feel me? So while we going back and forth, we don't really understand that we're all in the same boat. And if you don't address white supremacy on a global scale, and you're not addressing nothing. Because we deal with racism here, they dealing with a form of colonialism or colonialism over there. And then they're dealing with Zionism. And then if you go to India, they dealing with the caste system. It's all the same thing. All they doing is rebranding it. What makes them so effective, white people so effective, that they're global with it, while we're trying to be local. And we're just trying to stay within the confines of America. It will not work. White people have a base. They stay connected to Europe. They stay connected to Britain. They might beef, they might cuss each other out. But as Dr. Francis Cress Wilson said, there's only one true enemy under the system of white supremacy, and that's all melanated people. Britain will join hands with America. America will join hands with Germany. Germany will join hands with any other European country, as long as for your benefit. Feel me? So this is what I don't understand about ADOS. And two, reparations, and then what? Like, you get the money, and then what you gonna do? You gonna put it right back into the system that exploits you. What you gonna do? Buy stocks? Okay, so let's say you go buy stocks in Amazon for some dividends. Look at what Amazon doing. They don't even pay taxes, for one. Two, one of their employees died on the floor and they told the staff to keep working. So when you invest in stock, you're financing these companies to keep practicing these exploitative measures. So what you gonna do even if the government do give you this money? You gonna put it right back and give it right back to the system that exploits you. You feel me? So that's why I don't like ADOS. I think it's highly short-sighted. I think they throwing out all the wisdom of Amos Wilson, Dr. Francis Cress Wilson, Dr. Johnny Clark. They throwing all of that out for a couple dollars. And it's gonna trap us. It looks like it's gonna benefit us in the short run, but in the end, it's gonna trap us because we're gonna be more invested and we're gonna have more belief in the system that exploit us than we do now. So we feel like, well, at least we're getting something out of it. So let's keep doing it. That's why they create the black bourgeoisie, to separate the black people had nothing from the black people had something. So, and that's what ADOS doing. They perpetuating that black bourgeoisie narrative. So I do not like it, but it's a whole lot. So.
Okay, so I think we got one more minute. Keith, you want to jump in? Cuts off.
Well, I'll just say this: any group, the reparations is not even a discussion that should be had without the check in hand. I'm a hardcore believer in 40 acres and the mule, and I want my current value and my money. Now, in terms of the organization that is talking about reparations, they need to talk about reparations in terms of the historical context. They also need to talk about it in a political context. But money is not our issue. It is the system that continually perpetuates the ability for those who even those who look like us, to cling to this facade of the ability to be integrated into a community that has consistently said F off. And if you're gonna be black and be radical, be black and be radical, but don't at least be qualitative and quantitative in your analysis. If you're talking about black descendants of slaves, they beat us, they raped us, they sold us off, they bred us like cattle. If you're gonna have that kind of discussion, then what you say, ADOS, is that all black people who are going to be dependent upon the Democratic Party to be our logistical, our legal salvation, or our way of getting policy in place in order for us to get reparations, then you need to be real. But I'm not gonna knock any movement that feels itself or is true. But if you're going to have this kind of discussion, you better be damn well rounded, founded in principle. Because if you're talking about it, are you going to get reparations from the Cherokee Nation, who also were slave owners? Are you going to get? Are you like what are you going to do? Like, who's not on the hit list? And if you're going to talk about all of that in Black Lives Matter, all four of us on any given day, if we are outside of our door, actually now, if you inside your door, if like, there's a high probability that breathing may stop and you will have no reason as to understanding why it happened. So it's not about just reparations. I think what we have never really talked about is the prostitution of social justice, because some people can make a whole lot of money about appearing to be really connected to a social justice issue. And when it come down to it, every time I travel and I show up, you should never be shocked that a black disabled man is talking to you about police brutality or sexual assault or over incarceration or under education or over diagnosis or under representation. None of that should shock you. But the moment Leroy, Keith, Otis, or Latif show up and you go, I didn't know you guys were coming, your whole movement, to me, becomes invalid.
Okay, with that, I think we're still going. I'm gonna push it. So Lakeith, take it away. You know, if we cut off, then we'll go to the 8 o'clock meeting. But Lakeith.
I already spoke.
Okay.
About ADOS,
Okay.
but I agree. Two. That these organizations have to come with a better disability and analysis. I already spoke about ADOS, but I agree that these organizations have to come with a better disability analysis.
Yep, I agree. And we got 8 minutes and 50 seconds, so I'm gonna go now. I think, yeah, I think I agree with everybody is saying, and I also think that Black movements in this country from the beginning has never ever respect Black disabled people. Although, as we can look at our ancestors, Black disabled people freed slaves and did a lot of work, in this country. So I think all Black movements need that education. And I agree with all of you around ADOS and Black Lives Matter. To be upfront, I was almost sold in ADOS. I was drinking their juice until I really read their history and really read, where they're coming from. So I'm glad to be on that other side. I'm glad to be more clear about my politics. But we got 7 minutes, so what
but Leroy, I want to, because it's
Black Lives Matter has been good in bringing awareness about police violence and murder against mostly Black, brown people in this country, and also having an intersectional feminist and LGBT. What Black Lives Matter does not have is well, the one movement that I know included people with disabilities is the Black Power movement, with Brad Lomax as a Black Panther. Mr. Lomax was the one who got the Black Panthers involved with the 504 demonstrations in the 70s. The Black Panthers were one of the organizations that delivered food to the demonstrators and was one of the major reasons why the 504 demonstration in San Francisco lasted so long. So that is an example of cross-movement solidarity right there.
Thank you, Latif.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, yeah, it's your turn.
Oh, and that's the to use a very corny as expression, the bee in my bonnet. It's and just to pull back for a second, there's a real simple thing here. If you're doing social justice, you can't be picky about who you're gonna be cool with. Because if the social justice, if I'm only doing social justice for Leroy because Leroy cool with me, and Lateef and Otis are having the similar issues, but I'm only focusing on Leroy, then yes, I'm being effective for Leroy, but but as I said earlier, it undercuts the validity of the movement. If I can't be a proud disabled Black man and fight for social justice and not be aware of the LGBT community, I cannot be a proud disabled Black man and fight for social justice and not be wanting to have women have their voices heard. Like you cannot ask for justice and only do it part way. You either go all the way or stay your ass at home. Because in the end, whether you agree with me, whether you like me or like my politics, but if I'm out there fighting and saying every child deserves access to an education. Now, particularly Black children need a better education because y'all keep trying to make us dumb. But the whole point of social justice is justice. And if it's gonna be just us, then it ain't just this. So I'm not really into that. That's why when we have the issues with, as much as you're talking about NAACP and the Urban League and all of these a lot of stuff, the Council of Indigenous People, the moment you mention disability, paralysis and fear take place. The one common denominator out of all social justice is that if it's not centered in the disability community, anything external, they are petrified of having disability. And the word is called liability.
Yeah.
Because if they're liable, oh, Keith, we want you to come to the protest, but he fell out the wheelchair. Ain't got no insurance. Pick him up, put him in the corner. He good.
Yeah. Can I say this? Can I interrupt for just a minute? I think Lateef brought the good thing. The Black Power movement was never a nonprofit. I think that's one thing that cuts us to the bone. It's like all these movements come into a nonprofit sector, and that what kills it right there. And the Black Power movement wasn't a nonprofit. Yes, they helped with the disability protest, but they never became a nonprofit. So I just want to put that out there. Keith, you can go on. We got this.
Yeah, no, I like, as if you stand back and look, and I like, and Lateef, when you're doing social anthropology, y'all know this. But what we have lacked is that when you talk about, and I'm just gonna say it, we are that generation that the baton got dropped. So everything in terms of social justice, like the civil rights movement came along, the Black Power movement came along, we were coming up, and nobody handed us the baton. And even when we tried to go get the baton to say, okay, we're gonna take it on, what people started to realize is that, hey, this generates revenue. And again, it is, I ain't gonna lie, I used to call myself the grant whore. You hop from grant to grant to grant to grant to grant to grant to grant. Because, as much social justice, anybody who gets rich in social justice is not doing social justice.
Yeah.
Let's just be clear. I mean, if I could, because if they got a way to make us get rich, then Leroy, Otis, and Lateef, we all meeting up in Vegas and we party.
Yeah.
But until that happens, because you see talking heads, like you're prominent, and again, the exposure comes between who's the media darling, who's attractive on television, who do we feel is good, because Lateef should be on there, you should be on there. Anytime they having these discussions about this national health crisis or death because you're Black, and they have nobody who is 7 out of 10. and none of us have been on TV.
No, we got a lot, less than a minute. So, what do you want to say closing?
Get your head out of your behind and stop. And if you gonna do it, do it. Don't like, because you know, as much as we complain, there are lives attached to this. Like, people die, people end up homeless, people get abused in centers. People are not, you know, people don't have access to basic necessities. So if you really gonna do it, be about it. But if you're gonna play at it, then go play something else.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, and don't put the cart before the horse.
There you go.
All right. So do you feel that we need another meeting?
Oh no, I'm good. Latif, what you
You're
think?
good?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, we're good. So once again, this is Black Disabled Men Talk, and we'll be back next year, 2020. I think this is gonna be the last one of 2019.
Peace out.